Are you familiar with the term feeling of inferiority?
What a silly question. As you can surely tell from our discussion up to now, I'm just a huge blob of feelings of inferiority.
What are those feelings, specifically?
Well, for instance, if I see something in a newspaper about a person around my age, someone who's really successful, I'm always overcome with these feelings of inferiority. If someone else who's lived the same amount of time I have is so successful, then what on earth am I doing with myself?
That is social media. Lord have mercy. When I first got into these spaces, I would just address like the $100,000 statistic. I would show you guys how many people make $100,000 and I would move on. But in social media, we have people of different age groups, especially let's talk to the guys. So we have people in different age groups. When you just throw out a number of men should be making $100,000, that 20-year-old guy is listening. And he's like, damn, man, at 20 years old, I need to be making $100,000. So then that's when I took a step back and I was like, let me start showing the age, income that the average person makes between 20 and 24. So I can give young men and young women somewhat of a barometer of where you stand right now. You're perfectly fine. You're doing better than the rest. You're behind. But the end goal was just not simply $100,000 because that could cause some issues with those young people trying to do certain things that they're not supposed to do to get that money. You know what I'm saying? Something illegal just to say that I make $100,000. So yes, it would be great if you were a young person and you making that kind of money. Absolutely. Get your money. But when we put that cap and just say $100,000, everybody is listening. Okay. And then I showed you guys that even at the, the very top of the earnings, report, the man doesn't even make $100,000. And that's when I started getting more people comment like, oh, okay, this makes sense. I don't know if y'all remember that, or it's people in the comment section saying, yeah, I'm where I'm supposed to be, or I got some work to do. But it was an obtainable goal to where you were right then and there. Okay. So yeah, so it was very tough. And it took me a little while to understand because I didn't want to put those high expectations on young men just because they hear women say that you want a man to make $100,000.
Or when I see a friend who seems happy, before I even feel like celebrating with him, I'm filled with envy and frustration. Of course, this pimple-covered face doesn't help matters, and I've got strong feelings of inferiority when it comes to my education and occupation. And then there's my income and social standing. I guess I'm just completely riddled with feelings of inferiority.
See?
I see. Incidentally, Adler is thought to be the first to use the term feeling of inferiority in the kind of context in which it is spoken of today.
Huh. I didn't know that.
In Adler's native German, the word is Minderwertigkeitsgefühl, which means a feeling, Gefühl, of having less, minder, worth, Wert. So feeling of inferiority has to do with one's value judgment of oneself.
Value judgment?
And that value judgment is actually compared to the people that you see on social media, especially if you're a younger guy and you see somebody the same age as you and they're making a lot of money. That can make you feel inferior. You see a lot of things on social media. People don't like to feel left out. That's why that movie, what was that movie? In Too Deep, where LL Cool J's character, God, he was saying people just want to be a part of something.
Motherfuckers want to feel like they're a part of something. Black people in this country, they want to feel like they are a part of something.
And you know what's funny? I actually saw that with Kevin Samuels' High Value thing. Y'all remember that? So when Kevin Samuels came out with High Value and he gave the parameters, the 6 pillars of being a high value man. I can't shoot them off all at once, but he said $100,000 a year adjusted for where you live. Everybody heard that. Kevin Samuels was so popular that people just wanted to be a part of something. And that's when you got guys who who didn't qualify to be considered a high value man. They were calling themselves high value men. Does that make sense? So you didn't want to feel left out, but it also, if you were a smart guy, it may have motivated you to do more so you can get to that particular level, depending on how much stock you placed into being a high value man. I saw that all the time. And that's where most of the issues came in, because there would be guys who you could visibly see that didn't fall into the high value category, but they wanted to be a part of something. So they just consider themselves high value. And I know people try and come up with their own definitions. Just remember, it was out there before, but Kevin Samuels made it popular. And I know everybody got their own definition, but he was the one that actually started the conversation around a high value man, which is something that everybody wanted to be associated with.
Feeling that one has no worth, or that one is worth only so much.
Ah, that's a feeling I know well. That's me in a nutshell.